of just holding the lapel before we actually get into any of the positions themselves. So there's just a couple of things you need to avoid, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about another control position. It's very tempting if you are more accustomed to traditional guards, such as spider, de la riva, half guard, things like that. Use a lot of like feet in the hips, especially with like collar sleeve. In jiu-jitsu, people really like to put their feet in the hips and like push the knees and stuff like that. If you're using the lapels, that's a little counterproductive, because putting my feet in the hips like this, if he postures, and even a little bit, I don't really have enough torque to like bend his posture back. Because like I said, this part isn't really engaged. The slack is on his hip, or the tautness is on his hips. This is slack. So I don't really have a downward pull yet. That only comes once we incorporate our legs into like worm guard and stuff. So from here, try and avoid putting your feet on the hips and on the knees, because it's going to be very easy for him to just pass your legs. You just can push them down, do any sort of guard pass he wants, and you don't really have any reinforcement using the lapel. So you're kind of taking away from the strengths of the position if you start putting your feet on the lapels or knees. So really try and keep your feet high here, like this, so that you can actually use the lapel grip with your heel, your feet, and underneath, because everything's going to be based around this. Of course, also you can do it to either side. Either lapel works, which is nice about this position. So from here. Now, that's just one small detail that I needed to add. And now there's another control that's very, very strong, but it also has a weakness. And that's what you don't really want to stick to this position too long. And that's the lapel lasso. So a traditional lasso would look like this. If I have his sleeve, this is lasso guard, right? I wrap my leg around his arm, and I hook my foot behind his back and try and control his posture a little bit and isolate this arm so he can't use it effectively against me. I do the same thing with the lapel here. All I do is lasso it and shoot my foot through. Not super far, but I do want to take out as much slack as I can here. So this control now, if he tries to posture, look, once we incorporate our leg into a motion, look what's strong now, this part. So now we have the strength in the rotational movement around the lower part of his back with just the lapel, but now we have some downward control too, breaking his posture. All while only using one hand, right? Every other guard that you play needs two hands to accomplish this. So already the efficiency is doubled here, which is very useful to have. Now, this grip here, the only weakness for it is if he manages to push this leg down, because I don't have this leg engaged on his lapel. So if he focuses a lot on this and starts to move around this way, you can lose a little bit of the control here. So be very aware of a person passing to the side opposite of your lapel grip. Now, but it's very easy to stop this, okay? All you need to do is heavily focus on turning inward towards the side of the lapel, okay? You can even grab his collar here, or even another sleeve if you feel like it gives you better control. You don't have to let this hand be going rodeo style. The reason we have an extra hand is the control is strong, but now we have an extra hand to do whatever we want to even further power the position and give even more of an advantage to ourselves. So I like to grip the collar here, or even the sleeve. You could even, if you're a real stally type, do double lasso here. I don't suggest this. I prefer to just go for the collar. And like I said, these are intermediary lapel controls, meaning they're transitional. I'm not trying to stay here. This is not the strongest option I have. It's only while I'm trying to engage into the lapel guards we're going to cover further on, right? So I have the lapel control. I want to keep this leg out as far as I can, because the closer I get it to his body, the easier it's going to be for him to put pressure and potentially get to a good position. He still hasn't broken the grip per se, but he may be able to get to like a smash position where I'm stuck with the lapel and I can't create space, which we want to avoid. We want to keep the distance in this specific situation. Another thing you can do that can help you keep your body rotated is cross grip on the lapel. Cross gripping here allows me to exert control on the opposite side of his body, like the pants. Now, if he tries to walk around to the weak side of the grip, I have this pant leg to keep me in position. Notice I'm turned towards him a little bit on my side, but not too far. I keep my hips flat, but I rotated my body a little more perpendicular. This will keep me safe here. Now there's many entries into the worm guard, squid guard, any sort of guard you can imagine from this, but it's a very strong, like, hey, slow down position, right? If someone's being really crazy and like fast and you can't keep up with their movements, this is what I usually go to. I'll go to a position where I can lock myself to them, secure it, and let them sort of wear themselves out while I just hang on. Then once they slow down a little bit, I would engage into my lapel injuries, which we'll be going into after we cover these intermediary positions. The final thing is it's super tempting to lasso like this. And you can do it. But the only problem is if he's actively moving and maintaining posture, when I try and go like this, sometimes you might not be able to get it all the way through before he lassos. Or before he moves your foot or his hips out of the position to actually get the strong lasso. So if you're doing this, you kind of need to make sure that this leg would be forward, like almost like in a De La Riva. Controlling this would make it a lot easier. So now if he tries to posture up and turn his hips away, I would still be able to get my foot through, okay? So that's how you can do it if you absolutely want to lasso it in this normal way. There's a little bit of an easier way to do it. How I like to do it here is I go to my other intermediary positions here with the feet higher up controlled, maybe even the stirrup position here. And what I'll do is I'll just pass it around my leg and get the grip. So what that's done is I've left myself no opportunity to fall behind in the tempo of the match. If I start to take my leg off, I've let go of control. I don't have control over his body, and I'm going to be fishing for the grip, and then he can kind of start engaging on me and taking me out of the control points. So I want to try and be as seamless as possible as I start setting up my grips, and one of the first things you can do to help you be efficient in your movements is just passing it around your leg instead. So I just go over the top of my shin, keeping my grips on the lapel the entire time, and then passing. You never want to just toss it. You're not ever going to let go of the control. Keep both hands on the lapel until you have a secure grip with the other, then you can let go of the other hand, if you so desire. I like to play the lapel lasso with the cross grip so that I don't have to switch back again, because I'm all about eliminating grip switches. One of the weaknesses in the early worm guards is there's too many grip switches, and the more you switch the grips, the more opportunities he has to get his lapel back and potentially break your grip. So I like to just be as little grip switches as possible, and I'll show you a lot of the ways to eliminate grip switches as we go through the course. This is one of the first ones. Taking it over the top, passing it underneath. That's only one grip switch. I put my foot through his hip, past his hip here on the right. You can see here, go over the top of my knee and pass. Sometimes I'll even keep my foot on the bicep here